And here I was beginning to think that you'd never show up. This is Lionel, Lawmaster of the House of Ballads. Give the Codex over to him, and he may have your answers. I'm a woman of many talents, and we're all taught that we must use our talents for the greatest good, right? For a long time, they were content to keep to their play of the summer and winter courts. Now we fight Gadflow and the Tuatha for our very existence. A close friend once told me, strive to be whatever you want to be. Fate might be a lie, but if it isn't, then worrying about it won't change a thing. The Tuatha are a radical sect of Fae within the Winter Court, led by Gadflow and his insane rants about their new god. They've taken power and declared war on mortals. They use raw prismia to enhance their power, and their devotion borders on madness. But the most terrifying thing to the Fae is simply the fact that their siblings have changed so completely. We've known for a long time that prismia crystals allow us to store and focus magical power. The gnomes use it in their grander inventions, when they can get it. But we have no idea how Gadflow got a hold of so much of it. It makes his Tuatha the most dangerous army I've ever seen. The Summer Court, or the Seelie Fae if you prefer, embody the growth and energy of nature, but they can still be as aloof and uncaring as a brutal summer day. The current High King of the Fae is Titarian, the wisest of the Summer Court. While Gadflow has undermined the Winter Court, he tries to keep their cycle in balance. The Codex of Fate is no simple law stone. It's more subtle and complex than any mortal could comprehend. But a law master of ballads may be able to interpret it. The Winter Court, or the Unseelie, embrace the destruction and decay of nature. They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly the best of friends. Normally they share power peacefully with the Summer Court. But since the Tuatha have seized power, there is neither peace nor predictability. The Fae do not have a written language, so their tales are their lifeblood, their history, and their future all in one. The House of Ballads is where they enshrine these legends and celebrate them time and again. We are the charmed, the subtle, and the inspired. In happier days, we were the loftiest of the mortal races. We despise open war. But for decades, the Tuatha have been at war with us, pushing into our lands and forcing us to take up arms. None of us could have foreseen the rise of Gadflow and his army, but we should have, and now we're all facing the price. Lionel's one of the greatest balladeers amongst the Fae, and the most learned lawmaster you'll find outside of Issa. And as it happens, he owes me a favor. You haven't been around much, have you? The Tuatha have been pressing west from their home in Alabastra. Right now, they're only threatening my people. But if we fall, the Tuatha will turn their eyes to the other mortal races. Titarian isn't quite what you'd expect from the High King of Summer. But he hasn't got the arrogance of his cousins, or their cheer. Ever since Gadflow killed the High King of Winter and started the war, Titarian has become distant and melancholy, and blind to the dangers around him. Loremaster Lionel has devoted centuries to the study of lore and ancient Fae stories. The codex you found isn't just any lore stone. Just talk to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to shed some light on the issue. Be on your way.
Come closer. I was unaware that you were associated with Lady Shear. She speaks very highly of you. An occasion rare enough to be worth recording in its own right. But let's see this codex. Perhaps another of your tales will be written within. The fabled Codex of Destiny. When the Fate Weavers formed their order, a high King gave his own wisdom to assist them. To have such knowledge in your hands is a tremendous gift, but why did it reveal itself to you? If you had told me such a thing before your adventure with the Maid of Windermere, I would have doubted you. Now, I can make out some parts, but this is odd. The Codex speaks of an exception, a void, an end to the endless. This is simply too much. The High King would never pawn such absurdity off as wisdom. I'm afraid I cannot. This simply cannot be the true Codex of Destiny. It must be nothing more than a very impressive forgery. It speaks of impossible things. Changes to fate, death of the immortals, and other heresies. To ascribe these lies to the High King would be treason. I would thank you to take your Codex away from here. I will have no part in these lies. The role of the storyteller is the most important to the Fae in the Court of Summer. He watches the telling as it unfolds. His gaze is not on one ballad, but all of them. Every creature has its story. The wake it leaves behind in its travel. That is a telling. It is a narrative of defeats and victories that give every life meaning. Our Fae telling goes on from creation deep into the hidden end. Until then, we celebrate the small songs, the ones that celebrate the spring in which we find ourselves. We are the story that is told in every age, with different words, but the same meanings. We are the blazing summer and the brooding winter, forever following one another. We are as we have always been and shall ever be, no more and no less. For you, tales are naught but a reminder of your inevitable decline. But for the Fae, our tales are eternal reminders of our truest selves. Here we celebrate the very heart of our kind. The greatest of our tales, reborn and relived. He is an offense to our people. He upsets the natural order, and his war breaks the cycle. I will speak no more of him. As antiquarian, I'm keenly aware of the lesser ballads in Fae telling, and do my best to ensure that they're not lost in the wide river of time. I'm keeper of the Echo Stone here in the House of Ballads. It has only come to us recently, but I find its purpose most fascinating. It is a new relic crafted by several of our most attuned Fae mages. Usually the notion of new repels me, but in this case, can't help but feel a spark of curiosity. The Echo Stone can be used like a lore stone to experience past narratives, stories that have long since left the lips of their tellers. However, one can only use the Echo Stone if he has the right matching cairn, a magical key devised by Hallam the White himself. All of us in the Western Faelands are subjects of High King Tatarian. Our presence maintains the natural balance, bringing the green of spring at winter's end. His wisdom is above us all, even the lords and ladies of the House of Ballads. The High King guides us in all the grand telling of the Fae. It's had a meaning to it. Only its author could tell you. Do not bother me with such foolishness again.
Lionel spends his life cherishing old stories, but show him something truly new, and he dismisses it. Tragic. First of all, we ignore this fool. Most Fae aren't comfortable with change, and you are certainly something new. I'm afraid that only one person will really be able to help us with the Codex, the High King himself. It will be difficult. His court is in the city of Issa. Very few mortals are permitted in its gardens. I do know one individual who can grant you permission to enter, but you'll have to meet him alone. Niralim is a private person, and he carries a grudge against me, although perhaps person isn't the right word for him, nor is him. You'll find him in southeast Dalantoth, at Caer Niralim. Just head towards the giant tree, and, well, you'll see. That old coward. He may have lived 100 heroic lives, but he's lost the moment he faces something truly new. Pathetic. You'll have to meet him on your own. I'd accompany you, but Niralim and I have our disagreements. Niralim is the oldest living mortal. He remembers the time before even the Fae called these lands home. You should see how they cherish him. He rarely grants an audience to visitors. His tenders say he knows the future as well as the past. It makes him very particular about what he says. That codex isn't just a complicated lore stone. It seems to tell a tale most Fae don't want to hear, and created by High King Tatarian himself, no less. Interesting. Good luck with Niralim, and ignore anything he says about me.
Not like the others. Welcome. Be careful where you tread, for these grounds are
Niralim, may your wisdom grow within us. The Maid, convinced of Olain's threat, agreed to free the town. The people offered thanks and praise, and quietly she went her ways. Once the ill were brought to help...
Come closer, little curiosity.
Good Olain returned to mortal ground and gifted them with magic found.
The curious one seeks a way to the Fae, but it has found its way to the boughs of the World Tree instead. Rest, Quickling, and I may study you. Look around you, and I am all that you can see. My roots spread across Dalantoth. My leaves read the winds from Frostbrine Coast to Alabastra. My family and I circle this world. We were saplings when your kind emerged from the dark, and we will grow with you until this world burns once again. My roots spread wide and deep, and I have heard what brought you here, but I cannot see where you go hence. The time of the Fae is passing. I must shelter them in their twilight and protect them from the corruption that spreads in their kin to the east. I know your needs, but the predators circle Issa in her nest, and I cannot allow another to enter. Issa's end has always been certain, buried beneath Prismere blades. I can only hold back the tide, but you, perhaps you can change the currents. Where you tread, you mark all you touch. Before I would help you, I must know. Will you be a kind gardener, or a careless reaper? Like all quicklings, you are eager to act. I would rather see the method of your action. A tribe of trolls has been corrupted with Brismere. Their matriarch, Nash, has united the clans in the first step on the path of Dalantarth's demise. You can change this fate, but to what? In doing so, you may awaken a more dangerous threat, like your ally, Aelin Shear. She walks a dark and tangled path. A path you once walked together, before you died. But your path is your own now. Defeat Nash, remove the taint of Brismere. Then I shall see who you are, if not who you will become. Aelin Shear is a mystery and a simplicity. She is focused in a way few quicklings are. Her dedication is true, but I do not know the cause. Together you have walked dark paths beneath my boughs. You knew one another before your death, or thought you knew each other. I am as world trees have ever been since the dawn of time. I watch, I understand, and I remember. To creatures of flesh like yourself, Brismere is a powerful tool to harness magic. But to creatures of pure magic, like Tuatha or trolls, Brismere is so much more. To them, it is a curse, a blessing, and a rapture all in one. It drives them and consumes them. And to the weak-willed, it corrupts them utterly. Like the sun in the sky, they knew me when I was a sapling, and they will know me when I rot. But they will never know change, nor how to save themselves from their patterns. Only one Fae has ever truly changed, and he now leads an army to destroy your kind. The fates of quicklings are very simple. Growing, consuming, expanding, dying, and always rushing predictably along your paths. You are unique among them. You decide your own direction. But does that mean you will choose anything different? The last great Fae city, at once the birth of their dream, the throne of their great realm, and the deathbed of their kind. In thanks to High King Titarian, my boughs stand vigil over their city in their twilight. Only by my leave may visitors see them in their weakness. The troll matriarch. Brismere has corrupted her, making her cruel, cunning, and far more ambitious than her brethren. She bears the marks of the Tuatha, and she shares their murderous intent. I can no longer ignore the quicklings like your kind, who rush through the world, ever anxious, ever eager, ever evolving, but never changing. Fools who hack at my roots and burn, and sometimes sages who hang from my branches and learn. The troll matriarch and her brood await at Haxi. Their corruption burns my roots and threatens our future. Walk your path and watch your ally.
Find you here. That damned tree sent me. He has roots and branches all through the forest, but I was so hoping you'd be enough of a distraction for me to pass unnoticed. He said we should walk this path together. Thought I could help you, or maybe that you could help me. I've never met Nash. Trolls and Doppelfar rarely invite each other to tea, but if she's matriarch of a clan, you can be sure that she's strong. And if she's so corrupted that Neuralim is nervous about her, then she must pose a bigger threat than most trolls. The Gardens of Issa, home of the Summer Fae, once spread from the forests of Dalantarth, across the plains of Erethel, and even through the deserts of Ditir. Between the madness of the war and the spread of man, Alfar, and Gnome, the Summer Fae lose a little more ground every day. A tragedy for them. Let's not keep Nosh waiting. Trolls aren't normally this well organized. Even the biggest clans never build dens this deep. Tuatha doing here? If these trolls ever went on a rampage, they could destroy half of Dalentar. Looks like the Tuatha have been working here for a long time. If they've come this far inland, we're all in grave danger. What had the Tuatha done to her? Nice work. I see you haven't forgotten how to handle yourself in a fight. Still, this is bad. I didn't think the Tuatha would reach this far. At least not so soon. Obviously, the Tuatha have bigger plans than just killing you. Infusing the trolls with Prismir, trying to bring the war to Dalentar? Nirelem was right to be concerned. To the contrary, until you came along, she was destined to rampage across Dalentar, at least, if you believe Nirelem. Go, talk to the tree. I'm sure he'll let you into Issa now. I'll finish off any Tuatha hiding in this den. You can tell the old mossy log yourself. I'll be tracking down any other Tuatha that may have come this far west. I'll find you again when the time is right.
You return, and in your wake, Dalentarth blossoms. The flow is rearranged, now and forever. Nash's brood is at an end. You have destroyed what was written, and made a new fate for Dalentarth. Even your darkest ally walks a lighter path. And yet the Tuatha still spread, marching with Prismeer and pain. You have only delayed our doom. You have the power of an immortal, and yet the humility to ask for help. Little one, I envy your grace. You shall carry my blessings with you. You must know this, Quickling. The age is changing. Immortals are passing, and the future belongs to the young races. If there is a future to be had. Go, and stand at the heart of the She. There you will find Issa. And perhaps you will find wisdom as well. Nash and her brood would have spread across Dalentarth and brought the taint of Prismeer with them. So it forever was to be, until you set about to stop it. Only the path of your own choosing. Stand at the heart of the She. And if that path includes the gardens of Issa, I shall allow it. May your path be long and evergreen.
advise you to leave me to
My role is not to speak.
Welcome to the Gardens of Issa, home of the Summer Court, and the warm heart of the Feylands. It is a rare occasion for us to welcome a child of dust into Issa, but it is equally rare that Niralim chooses a champion. Pleased to meet you. I am Chancellor to the High King. I pray you enjoy our hospitality. High King Titarian is Lord of the Summerfey, the font of all our wisdom, and first amongst the immortals. And since Godflow tragically murdered the High King of the Winter Court, Titarian is the greatest and last true leader left of our kind. Too many mortals misunderstand the Winter Court. Our cold cousins are not evil, but merely evoke the darker truths of nature, from subtlety to decay. Perhaps it makes sense that children of dust are put off by those who embody their inevitable death, but it is regrettable that so many are misunderstood. Truly a place of wonder, as it has always been and always shall be. Here springs the life well of Dalentarth, and the greater Feylands in all directions. It is a pity that some of our kind have fallen to such degenerative states, but we cannot shed a tear for their weakness. We are the Summer Court, the very embodiments of courage, honor, and all things bright and proud. Some envious few in the Winter Court would call us arrogant and self-righteous, as well as all manner of other epithets. But remember, we are the ones who stayed true to tradition, while they turned to barbarism. The Tuatha find new recruits from our ranks. The sapling of the World Tree bears centuries of great wisdom. Of course, long-lived as Nirlam is, it is still regrettably mortal. Even all greatest mortal wisdom cannot compare to the perspective given by true agelessness. Begging your pardon, of course. The ranks of the Fae were not always sullied by the presence of anything so coarse as the Tuatha. Once, the Summer and Winter Courts existed in harmony. But Gadflow perverted the Winter Court with talk of his new god, and from that poison, the Tuatha arose.